Molly, good to go.
Great, thank you. Good morning and welcome, everybody. I'm delighted to call us to order for the first meeting of the Outreach and Engagement Committee of 2023. I'm delighted to call us to order. And Stephanie, can you take a roll call, please?
Of course, good morning. Ava Bermuda Zimmerman.
Present.
Adrienne Cochran. She has not joined us. Sheila Hummel.
Present.
Sal Luciano has not joined us yet. Molly Weston Williamson.
Here.
And Justin Zartman.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. And now I would love to acknowledge any members of the public who wish to identify themselves. And hearing none, we can move ahead. So the next on the agenda is review and approval of the minutes from the December meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, I believe the ayes have it. And we can move on to our outreach and engagement updates from Jessica.
Thanks, Molly. Good morning, everyone. And I know I saw you all in the board meeting, but I haven't seen you in the smaller group. So happy New Year to everybody. Hope it's off to a great start. Let me go ahead and get my screen share going. And all right, so for our outreach and engagement updates, first, I'm excited to share with you 2 new testimonial videos that we recently completed and have just launched on social media. And they're each 30 seconds long, and I'd love to play them for you. So let's hope the technology works the way it's supposed to.
We have 3 children, Ace, Calvin, and we have our baby Maverick. Alvin was able to use the paid leave program to take off the 8 weeks.
Once I went on the website, all the forms I needed, I could get those filled out.
And if he had a question, he called in, they answered the question for him. He felt like it was necessary for him to bond with his child. The program allowed him to show that as a partner.
I got to spend time with my son. I loved it. It's a relief when you help your partner out.
So that is the first, and I will share our second new one. This is Paula.
A year ago, I had my mammogram. They found 2 tumors. The tumor in the breast was cancerous. I would have to do chemotherapy immediately. I found out about the Connecticut paid leave, and it fit right in terms of me getting the assistance that I needed. They just said, fight your fight and don't worry about everything that needs to happen. It's a wonderful resource. You should not have to worry about money when you're worrying about your health. I'm so grateful that I have this.
So those are our 2 new testimonial videos, which I love. I hope you love as well. And if you'll remember, we have 2 others, one for bonding leave, one for caregiver leave. So we think that with these 4 running in rotation, we have a nice representation of different reasons for leave, different types of families, different geography, all that good stuff. So these are not live, these are still in development, but and so I would welcome your feedback on the tagline or any aspect of them, but we're hoping to parlay these into some updates for our outdoor. Love the fact that they're real people. We want to just change the message slightly from apply now, which is what we've been saying, to just kind of, having more of that emotional connection. So we are, of course, even though these individuals have signed releases to use their likeness, we just wanted to make them aware that this was our plan. So no one's driving down 84 and sees their face on a billboard and is taken off guard. But so this is the new direction that we're hoping to go with our outdoor. An update on fund recovery, which you've all heard about the campaign and the plans. So we're launching, and I wanted to share a little bit of that messaging for you. So the first one that I'll play, this is, if you'll remember, we had 3 target audiences, and one is employees with that pull through messaging, reminding them to check their paychecks. So this one has no audio. So just so that you know, it's not that it's not working. So that one will be primarily in social media. And then this next one that I'll play for you, which does have audio, this will be social media as well as YouTube and display, targeted display advertising. Oops. Hold, please. Tried really hard to make sure I linked everything properly, but all right, let's see if I can pull that up really quickly. I guess it didn't link the way I wanted it to. Sorry to make you watch while I look through everything.
Well, while you're looking, we can talk about how amazing the testimonials are, especially Paula's made me cry. And I can't wait for those to be live. And I love the a small contribution for big peace of mind line on the employee pull through advertising.
Yeah, I was gonna comment on that exact phrase. I like that. And also of the 2 videos you showed already, the first 2, I saw the first one in one of my social media feeds earlier
Oh,
this week.
good.
So it's already working.
I love that. I love
I'm like,
that.
oh, I haven't seen this video before.
Great. So I think maybe while Nancy's giving her update, I will find the link for this just to make sure we can keep the meeting moving along. I do want to share it with you, but I don't want to make you watch me click through a million screens. So I'll come back to that if that's all right. And then the last thing I wanted to share is obviously we've just hit our milestone of celebrating 1 year of benefits. So just wanted to share this social media post that we put up, which incorporates you'll see some of the images of the individuals whose stories we featured. And the headline is 1 year, over 55,000 approved claims and 249 million in benefits. We did send out a press release last week about this, and we've gotten some good coverage already. So I'll send the links to these so that you can check them out. Connecticut News Junkie and Hartford Business Journal. Aaron also just this week did an interview with Connecticut Public, so hopefully we'll have some coverage there as well. With that, I will stop sharing. Happy to answer any questions. And again, thanks for your patience with me while I try to find the link for that other video.
Do you think we should celebrate the fact that the authority has put $250 million in Connecticut workers' pockets when they needed it? Like, that's a milestone worth lifting up.
We think so.
Do folks have any questions or other comments for Jessica? Okay, hearing none, I think Nancy has an update while Jessica was working on the tech side.
Let's see if I can share my screen. I can't share my screen. So I don't know if you can enable me.
I think you should be able to now, Nance.
Okie doke. Well, I just kind of wanted to do a little backtrack and do a year in review. Buzzsprout is the platform that we use that poof takes it out into the universe and puts it on Google and Apple and Spotify. And this is a year in review and a recap. So last year in 2022, we had 22 episodes. I don't know how I averaged 1.83, but there were 2. And these are the most popular cities. Interestingly enough, the 4th most popular is Germany, which I find really interesting that it's more than East Hartford. But yes, so I think that's great. 13 countries, Germany being second at 41 downloads or listens, which is really wonderful. I wonder who those people are. I would like to contact them. And Canada and India and Vietnam. I think it's all really cool. And the top 5 episodes were, of course, the flagship one with Andre Barton Reeves. The second one was with domestic violence. I had CCADV Executive Director Megan Scanlon on, and the network's Executive Director of the network is in Enfield, Karen Foley O'Connor, who's also was a former police officer. And then I had a victim or a survivor actually on. Her name was Jenna. And so that was a really powerful podcast, and it got a lot of listens, and the rest are kind of, Governor Ned Lamont and Susan Bisowitz. And then the Passion for Connecticut Paid Leave, actually that one was with one of our board members, which interestingly enough, it was with Adrian Cochran. So those are the ones that were the most popular. So this is sort of a good review of that. And I just kind of did my own little one that shows all of the podcasts that I've done in 2022. And a lot of them were reasons for leave, for Connecticut paid leave. The military ones actually filtered out so that we did appearances for the military in Stand Down. It was across the state, and a bunch of us went to different locations. So sometimes the podcasts actually turn out to be really great, a great way for us to get more engagement and more outreach. I did a bunch of these, and you can also go on to CT Paid Leave and get all of the breakdowns. But if you'd like me to go through them, I certainly can and tell you who the guests are. But I want to also say what's coming up. Thank you, Molly, for being the first one of the year. You and Cassandra were amazing. So it was really wonderful to have you on for the national aspect of paid leave, and hopefully we will get that. And other topics I'm going to focus on for 2023. Today, as a matter of fact, I will be interviewing our new CEO, Aaron Choquette. And we're going to kind of figure out the difference between federal FMLA, Connecticut FMLA, paid leave for the regular person who doesn't know about it. It's very, very confusing unless you need it. So we're going to try to dispel all the myths and get it a little clearer for people. I have Planned Parenthood coming up. I have someone from the villages that I'm going to talk to about mental health in adolescents and tweens and teens. And I'd like to focus on one about mental health in general and adults, what we've learned from COVID, and how does Connecticut paid leave help with bonding leave for parents? Justin has given me some good information, so I'm going to go with somebody that he's offered to me. And health issues with long haul COVID. I think that's, I know a bunch of people who've been suffering from that. So those are the topics that are coming up. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. And please go to ctpaidleave.org. You can go get the podcast there.
Any questions for Nancy? I love seeing you already have so many topics queued up when we're only a couple of weeks into the year.
Yeah, I'm thinking ahead. Radio did that to me, so always thinking ahead.
If there's no questions for Nancy, I think we can throw it back to Jessica in the hopes that we're ready for
Yes.
that video.
I am, thank you. And it was just up on a screen that was ready to go. And of course, when you're being watched, you get nervous and you can't find it. So let me pull this up.
With CT paid leave, every employee counts, and the countdown is on. April 30th is the final deadline for employers to become current on remitting any past due employee contributions to the CT Paid Leave Authority. If you have one or more employees, this law likely applies to you. Failure to comply by the deadline will result in penalties and interest. Not sure if you are covered by the law or where to begin? CT Paid Leave is here to help. Visit ctpaidleave.org.
So that is the video that will be going live, as I mentioned, social media, targeted display advertising to employers, YouTube, to drive home that idea that every employee counts. Even if you have one, you are most likely covered by this program. So we tried to be firm with the messaging, but also still deliver that, you know, if you're not sure where to start, we're here to help you, reach out to us, but also, you know, have that message that the countdown is on. There's only a couple more months to become compliant. So I'm pleased with how it came out. I think our partners at Miranda Creative did a really nice job with the videography. And that's the second audience. And then our third audience will be that TPA outreach. And we're still working on some assets for that, which I will share at next month's meeting.
Thanks, Jessica. I love the blue Sharpie and the black and white. It's such a cool visual. Any questions or comments for Jessica?
I just out of curiosity, is that Nancy's radio voice?
It's actually not Nancy's.
Well, Nancy's radio voice is so different than her speaking voice that I'm like, is she?
It wasn't me.
Okay.
But thank you for asking.
If it was, I was going to say fabulous job, but whoever did it, very clear, very clear.
I did my first ever live radio interview recently, and they were like, well, have you ever done live radio before? I'm like, no, but I did this podcast with Nancy, and I feel like that's like how I got prepared. Awesome. If we're done with updates, I think we can move on to old business. Is there any old business anyone would like to raise? Okay. Moving on to new business. To kick us off, I think Erin has an update on AFLAC to share.
I do, thank you. Just wanted to make sure that I share with each of the committees, and then we'll talk about it at the board meeting next month. We just completed our sort of year in review with AFLAC in terms of our service level agreement. We had 18 specific metrics that AFLAC was required to meet as part of its service levels. And of the 18, they missed 4, 3 of which related to timeliness, so not a surprise for all of us who've lived through the rocky start of last year. And then they also missed on accuracy of benefit calculations. To be fair to AFLAC, the standard was 98% and they hit 95. So really good, just not what we need. And accuracy of benefit calculations includes over and underpayments, because we want to make sure we're not underpaying anybody. And also making sure that when people go back to work, the benefits stop, which they had a little bit of a gap on in some situations. So with those 4 missed SLAs, with this contract, basically we put at risk 5% of the total annual administrative fees. These 4 SLAs can constitute 33% of that 5%. And so because they missed those, we will be getting over $375,000, sort of credit or payment, we're still working through the details, back from what we paid. We would rather not have the money, quite honestly. We'd rather have them meet their targets, but this is the way the world works. Putting financial penalties on actions helps reinforce the importance. I'm not thrilled that we miss these, but we're not really surprised because of our difficulties. A lot of changes have already been put in place to make sure that these are met going forward. And we continue to work with AFLAC to emphasize how important these issues are, particularly with timeliness and accuracy, and to make sure that they're going to be met going forward. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you had any questions.
Thanks so much, Erin. I had one. So on the timeliness metrics, which we know has been something that everyone has been working on basically from the beginning to improve. So when they miss those SLAs, is that in total over the course of the year, or was that like a point in? So that's includes, we know there were issues at the beginning.
Right. It's a yearly so we mark it weekly, but for this particular issue, it's their average over the course of the year. So the fact that things got much, much better is great, but it didn't overcome the expectations from the beginning.
Got it. So that includes both real struggles at the beginning and a trajectory moving in the direction we want it to, even if we know we still got room to grow. And it also sounds like nothing that was a surprise in terms of the messages. Most of the stuff we knew needed work.
Right. We knew, and many of which we've already implemented changes and are continuing to work to continue to improve. So for example, responses to portal messages, 90% should be responded to within 1 business day. They're not there.
Mm-hmm.
And so they changed their process. They've got a dedicated team to actually respond to them, to really focus on that, and to make sure that it is considered to be equivalent to responding to the phones, right? Like we spent a lot of time making sure that phone calls were responded to. We said, okay, but don't do that at the expense of the portal messages. So they dedicated new assets to making sure that the portal messages are responded to.
Got it. Do we track timeliness separately based on language?
You know, that's a great question. I'm not getting reports on that, but I can ask for that.
Because that just, it seems like it would be useful to know if there's, I assume there's a lot more English language staff than there is in other languages, but knowing if we're sort of hitting the time where we are on timeliness in multiple languages would be helpful.
That's a great question.
Other questions for Erin? Okay.
So, and actually, if you will indulge me, I'll just give you one quick legislative update. Because between yesterday and today, there are 8 bills raised, not raised, proposed, not yet raised, that relate to us and either increasing or decreasing the number of covered employees. So just wanted to flag that we are tracking them. We'll be reaching out to the various proponents to discuss what they're looking for and what they think is happening, and trying to address that. So we'll be keeping you informed of that. But if anyone's been watching, I think there are over 100 pages of House bills proposed yesterday and about 30 pages today, and slightly fewer numbers for Senate, but it's that time of year. So we're tracking all those bills.
Got it. Thank you for that update. Because I know you have to be many people now. That's staffing is being adjusted.
Staffing is going to be adjusted. We'll make that work. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that, Erin, about, I know we lost Jacqueline to the Secretary of State. Are we trying to fill that position?
Yes, very much. It's my number one staffing priority, honestly. And so I've been reaching out to people who have experience doing the legislative work. It's many different skills, because it's the knowing how the building works and having the ability to talk to the legislators and staff, but it's also being able to write testimony and write language and track and explain. And then also legislature is not a full-time job, and legislative liaison is not a full-time job. So we want someone who can also assist with outreach and engagement and community involvement. So trying to find that perfect person as quickly as possible.
Understand. Thanks.
Awesome. Is there language on that job description, Erin, or is that still in progress?
I have a draft. I'm happy to share it if you would like.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Awesome. Any other questions for Erin?
Well, and Aaron, when you have that job description finalized, if you could just forward it. I mean, I'm sure our contacts, we can forward it as well, so we get the right person.
Certainly, I will do that. I'll let you know if people will be hearing me singing when we get that job filled. So we'll let you know.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Any other questions for Erin? Any other new business we should raise? Oh, I don't know who it is in the chat.
So just as a reminder, we will happily, respond to folks in the public, but at public meetings, there's no sort of public comment section. So the staff can take the question offline.
Thanks, Erin. Okay. Any other new or old business we should raise before we wrap up? Hearing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 Any opposed to adjourning? Hearing none, I believe the ayes have it. I'm going to turn. Thank you, everybody. We can give you back a little bit of your morning.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.